Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. How are you?
Not bad, not bad. Friday, that's good for everybody. I bet.
Always happy when it's Friday.
So I'm just here for moral support. This is going to be up to Chrissy from Ronald McDonald House in Baxendale. So there you go.
Thanks, Specialist Jay. What do you think? Do we should we get started, Chrissy?
Yeah, let's dive in.
Alrighty. Yeah, so welcome everybody. Very excited to have Chrissy here from the Ronald McDonald House of Detroit. And yeah, we're just gonna learn a bit more about her charity. And of course, as you guys know, um, this is just part of our whole charity initiative. I won't go over the details because I assume everybody here has been to one of these things before. But yeah, we're very excited. The Cat Tribe has fallen in line with the Ronald McDonald House of Detroit. This a little personal story here. My brother, growing up, was prematurely born. He had Prader-Willi syndrome, so so we spent some time at the Ronald McDonald House, and yeah, so when I saw this was one of the options, I got a critical mass in the Cat Tribe to support the Ronald McDonald House. I'm not from Detroit, but I assume you guys are doing the same great things over there in Michigan. But yeah, maybe we can just get started, Chrissy, and maybe you can introduce yourself and maybe speak more to the Ronald McDonald House charity.
Yeah, absolutely. So, hi. My name's Chrissy, and I am the operations director at Ronald McDonald House Charities here in Detroit, Michigan. Um, I will give you kind of a general overview of what Ronald McDonald House Charities does, and then we'll just kind of go from there. So, we here in Detroit have a house and a family room. So, basically, what that means is we have a 26-bedroom house that families can stay in while their child is hospitalized or otherwise receiving some kind of treatment at a Metro Detroit area hospital. So our primary hospital partner is the Children's Hospital of Michigan, but we work with lots of different hospitals in the Metro Detroit area. I don't know how familiar everyone is with Michigan and Detroit, but we've got families from Henry Ford, we've got families from Beaumont, and kind of all over the place. So families can come and stay with us free of charge while their child is in the hospital. So we work really hard to make sure that our house is as comfortable as possible to kind of take some stress off of those parents, guardians, while their kiddo is getting treatment or otherwise hospitalized. We provide meals every day for the families. We have all kinds of groceries. They can cook their own food. We have volunteers that come in and cook dinner every night. And yeah, we just do our very, very best to make sure that our house is, we like to call it the home away from home for our families, just to make sure that they have everything that they need while they're with us. We also have a family room inside the Children's Hospital of Michigan, which is basically a really, really, really nice waiting room. If anyone has ever spent any amount of time in a hospital waiting room, you know that they can be uncomfortable to say the least. But we have taken a waiting room there at the Children's Hospital, and um, we've made it something really special. It's got showers, it's got washers and dryers, it's got really nice lazy boys, all kinds of amenities that families can use if they don't want to be too far away from their child. Our house is about a half a mile away from the hospital, and we do have a shuttle that runs back and forth all day and all night. But if their child is critical or they just really want to be a part of the care that their child is receiving, they can stay in our family room instead and kind of take naps and take showers and get whatever comfort they need even closer to their kiddos. Um, I am here to answer any and all questions that you guys might have. I will say that There are Ronald McDonald House programs associated with about 95% of the children's hospitals throughout the world right now. So wherever you are, there is probably a Ronald McDonald House local to you. So they would appreciate any volunteering or support you could offer them. But me specifically in Detroit, I of course want all of your support as well.
No, that's great. So I'm curious, like, what kind of volunteering can people do with the Ronald McDonald House?
Yeah. So one really great way to volunteer is to offer to come in and prepare a meal for the families. Something that is really appreciated and really well loved is a home cooked meal. Instead of getting fast food or hospital cafeteria food or something like that. So volunteering and offering to whatever your specialty is, whether it's grilled cheese sandwiches or some, 3-course gourmet meal, anything is going to be better than hospital food. So that's the best volunteer opportunity for sure.
And for people who can't cook like myself, what would I be relegated to doing?
And for people who can't cook, we can also, there's lots of opportunities with houses to help with cleanup. There's houses that have gardens. There's always something that needs to be done. We basically say that whatever you do at home, we do for 26 families at a time. So there's always something that needs to be cleaned or dusted or vacuumed. So we can find things for volunteers to do.
No, that's great. Yeah, no, I guess I bet a lot of people here see the Ronald McDonald House, Ronald McDonald, the name, and they associate that with McDonald's. And I'm curious, just what is the connection, if any, between the corporation and the nonprofit?
Yeah, so once upon a time, in actually Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the very first Ronald McDonald House was created at the Children's Hospital there in Philly. It was created because there was a player actually on the Philadelphia Eagles whose child was diagnosed with cancer and was receiving treatment at the Children's Hospital in Philadelphia. And he saw families sleeping on the floor in the hospital waiting rooms, sleeping in uncomfortable chairs, all kinds of stuff like that. And he went to the doctors and he said, "What do you need? What can we do to support these families?" And the doctor said, it would be really great, a place for these parents to go and take a nap, a place for these parents to go and be able to lay their heads and rest, because the better they feel, the more they can help their child heal, right? So that Philadelphia Eagle went to McDonald's, who was the corporate partner of the Eagles at the time, and said, "We're going to build a house for this hospital. We're going to give these parents a place to lay their heads, a place to take a shower, and we need your help." So that McDonald's in Philadelphia started selling Shamrock Shakes and donating 25 cents from those Shamrock Shakes to the Ronald McDonald House there in Philly. And it just kind of blew up from there. Our house here in Detroit was actually the 11th house in the entire country. So we're pretty proud of that, to bring that to Detroit so early in the history of Ronald McDonald House Charities. And currently, we receive 2 cents from every Happy Meal that's sold in every McDonald's throughout the world. 2 cents is donated to their local Ronald McDonald House. And I don't know how many of you go through the McDonald's drive-thrus. I know I go and get a large Coke every once in a while because for some reason they have the best Coca-Cola. But
we have to say this isn't sponsored, by the way.
Of course, yeah, right. When you go through the drive-thru or order in McDonald's, you can round up your change, and all of that is also donated to your local Ronald McDonald.
Interesting. So essentially, every McDonald's within. Is there any other Ronald McDonald houses in Michigan, or not?
Yeah, there are. In Michigan, we have houses in Grand Rapids, Lansing, Ann Arbor, and Detroit. And we've kind of split up the state. They call them service areas, and McDonald's does the splitting kind of on their own, depending on the region that they're in and the region that the house is in. So we have all of the southeastern Michigan McDonald's stores, and we are so thankful for all of their support. But yeah, that's the relationship with McDonald's. It's been since the very, very beginning, and we are very thankful that they are one of our main corporate sponsors. But I will say, on that note, as much as we love McDonald's, they only account for about 5% of our budget.
Oh, wow.
And we have a $1.5 million budget per year. So we do a lot of fundraising, and we are very, very thankful for everyone all the different individuals and companies that donate to us as well.
Oh, yeah. I that's what I wouldn't expect. Very, very cool statistic right there. And also very interesting to learn how the Shamrock Shake came about. I'm looking forward to March just because I know some of them they have that like limited time edition one for St. Patty's Day. So very excited for next month.
Yeah, I know when those Shamrock Shakes come back around, they're always a big hit. So that's how that started, and it's awesome, to think that like just a weird minty milkshake is what started it all.
No, that's great. So yeah, I just want to remind the audience that we are open for questions, and if you guys have any questions, please raise your hands, and someone on the rug team and the Space Poggers team will bring up on stage. And if not, I can also just keep going with my questions because I do find this very fascinating. Very fascinating. And just like I said, it's a great charity. And I saw that. Can you speak to some of the trends? So I'm known as like the auditor of this project to some extent. Can you speak to just how transparent you are in regards to the use of funds and like where funds are used and what you would expect in potential donation from the Space Poggers project, where that would go?
Yeah, absolutely. So I will say that in 2020, our functional expenses, we dedicated almost 97% of our budget to program expenses. It was all programming. We do for management and fundraising, marketing costs, we try to limit it to under 5%. And in 2020, we were at 3%. So we're pretty proud of the fact that more than 95% of our budget every year goes into direct programming, making sure that families have a place to stay. We work really hard to make sure that we don't have to charge families for their stays. We can take insurance reimbursement, which is something that, we work on quite a bit with different insurance companies and things like that to cover stays. But we pretty much never ask individual families for any of their costs. They can make donations, and we're very happy when they do. And a lot of times they do donate just because, they're happy to have a place to stay. But it's always been our goal to put as much of our budget as we can towards those programming expenses versus anything else. We have a pretty lean staff, which is one way that we're able to keep those operational costs down. We have 26 bedrooms, like I said, and a full-time staff of 4. We have some great part-time staff, some amazing regular volunteers that come in on a weekly to help us do all the things we need to do. But we do a lot with what we have.
Okay, that's great. I'm curious. So you said you guys have 26 rooms available?
We do. Yeah.
So how are those, like, how often are you at full capacity? And how do you allocate those rooms to families? Like, do you do it like based on consent? How do you?
We did have to close down for a little bit during the pandemic. The families that were with us sheltered in place with us here in Detroit.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, we had actually, it's a really cute story. We had a family that was here from Jamaica for 2 of the daughters to go through some pretty extensive surgeries, and they were with us. They came into the house in early January 2020, and then guess what, you guys are locked in. So Detroit, they stayed with us in the winter. Through most terrible. Of the year.
Yeah. I'd rather be in Jamaica.
So so we have 26 bedrooms, and we're usually about 80% full. Our house we built a little bit bigger than necessary because we wanted to make sure that we always had room for our families instead of building a little bit smaller and having wait lists and things like that. So we're not often 100% full, but as we start to get closer to our capacity, we do start to give preference to families who live further away from the hospital.
Oh, okay.
Which is one way, to kind of help alleviate stress on those that are driving, for example, from Mount Pleasant or Port Huron or something like that. But typically we don't have a distance requirement for our families. We do have families that come all the way from the UP. And then we also have families that come from a Detroit suburb that it's just easier to be here than fight traffic to get to the hospital every day.
Yeah, that's good. And for those who aren't familiar with Michigan geography, UP is Upper Peninsula. It's apparently people live there.
You're right. Thank you for that. Sometimes I forget.
Yeah. No, it's apparently people live there. I think there's only it's connected. It's not even connected to the other part of Michigan, and it's connected to Wisconsin. I don't know why Wisconsin just doesn't invade. Actually, we probably shouldn't talk about that right now. But yeah, it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. Yeah. So just wanted to also just touch on cryptocurrency. So looking at your website, you do have the ability to donate via cryptocurrency, and I was just curious, like, what's your nonprofit's strategy around cryptocurrency? Do you guys have one, or like what sparked your interest in it?
It is a very new interest and strategy for us, actually. We here in Detroit obviously have a board of directors, but we also have our junior board of directors, which is a board of young professionals who kind of helps guide us in new trends and reaching out to different groups and things like that. And they actually suggested accepting cryptocurrency as a donation last year. So we reached out, we reached out to the Giving Block to find out kind of how that worked, because it's definitely a brand new area for me. And we've been working with the Giving Block since November. And have been really happy with how that has worked. It's opened us up to a whole kind of new world of supporters and donors. And it's just really interesting to see how passionate people who hold crypto are about different nonprofits and things like that. So it's been a really cool space to be a part of.
Yeah. I was just reading today, just in regards to the whole the invasion. I think 4 million Bitcoin has transferred over to Ukraine to help, the Ukrainian army in defense of their country. So yeah, I do see a future in regards to cryptocurrency and 503Cs.
Yeah, it's amazing the amount of support that can be given pretty quickly and pretty easily with crypto.
Yeah, no, it's very amazing. Yeah, and it's like on your website there's some tax benefits to it too. not financial advice, but definitely look into it.
Yeah. If anybody's interested in that, definitely look into it, because there are some good things that come with it.
Sure. Yeah. So just want to remind the audience that this is a Ask Me Anything. So, and we have Chrissy here from the Ronald McDonald House of Detroit. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, just raise your hand and we will get right to you.
I see a question about our relationship here in Detroit and the global, like the umbrella RMHC organization. And just really quickly, I'll say, so yes, there is a quote unquote parent RMHC Global that kind of is over all of the different Ronald McDonald House charity chapters in the world. Each chapter is its own individual 501c3, and we all kind of make our own decisions for what's best for our community in each location. But the global charity does a lot of advocacy for us. They do a lot of great advertising. They work the closest with corporate McDonald's to get donations that way. And they do a lot of healthcare advocacy and things like that to ensure that each chapter has what they need to be the best they can be in their community. So it's kind of like having a universal library to go to. We can all talk to each other. All the different chapters throughout the country and throughout the world can talk to each other, share resources with each other via our RMHC Global parent. And then we can each take what works best for us and apply it in our own communities. So I hope that answered your question. And if not, let me know. I can detail it out a little bit more, but that's basically how that works.
Yeah, no, I forgot that people can send messages via chat and questions via chat. So let me see if there's anything else in there. No, yeah, you got that. No, I guess the question that I have, and this is kind of just a curiosity, if anything, and you don't have to satisfy it if you don't want to. But what I mentioned before, I spent some time at one of your sister locations when my mother was in the hospital, and we had a Ronald come in, and that was pretty cool. But these days, I feel like Ronald just kind of, at least when it comes to McDonald's, like Ronald's kind of like on the way out to some extent. Like he's not appearing in any of the branding. I was curious, does he make an appearance at all at your location?
He does. So
He does?
Ronald
Okay.
had a really hard time when they redid the It movies. So there were some
movies? Oh, It. Yes.
the It movies.
Yeah.
There were some clown related problems, I think. Poor Ronald. We felt very bad for him. But he does. He comes every once in a while, especially to events where we're going to have kiddos around. One really funny thing that we've noticed, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that McDonald's has moved away from using Ronald in their branding, that it's older people that are familiar with Ronald McDonald as a person, entity, I don't know, clown, and younger people aren't so much.
Okay.
But he's always a big hit. I mean, Ronald's got some great magic tricks, so we love it when he comes to things.
Yeah, that's awesome. You're probably right. He's going to be aged out as millennials kind of go up.
Yeah.
Start.
I mean, I think I'm probably one of the last age groups in my 30s that remembers like the Hamburglar and Grimace and stuff, being part of the play places at McDonald's. So Ronald might be on his way out.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. With the whole, I remember, I think it was like 2016 or something. They had the whole like killer clown kind of craze, and they were all over the news. So it's probably good to step away from that. So yeah, especially when kids, like you said, like kids don't recognize them these days. So they're like, "Why is this random clown here?"
Right. Why is this random clown standing, here with my Happy Meal? I don't need that.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah. No, I remember. Back in the day, they had the Mighty Kids meal, and that was a fun thing.
Yeah.
That's a true millennial kind of thing right there. But yeah, no, so you mentioned that so 2% of every Happy Meal sold goes towards the Ronald McDonald House. In the vicinity.
Yep, 2 cents from every Happy Meal is donated to the Ronald McDonald House closest to that restaurant.
Okay.
So it's a really cool way to support all the restaurants and all the Ronald McDonald houses at the same time. We're pretty happy about it.
Oh yeah, that's I did not know that. So yeah, I guess I don't see anything else in the chat, but if anybody else wants to ask a question, let me know. But I was curious, Chrissy, how did you what's your background, and how did you come to get involved with the Ronald McDonald House?
I am a nonprofit lifer, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
I've worked at a couple of different health and human services nonprofits. And I actually, when I was in college at the University of Michigan, participated with a student organization that
Go
worked
Blue.
pretty closely. Yeah, exactly. That
Yeah.
worked really closely with the Children's Hospital there at U of M. So it's just something that's always been close to my heart. I've had different friends, family members stay at Ronald McDonald houses, as they've had kiddos. So it's just something that I think is such an important part of healthcare that's not really talked about a lot. Being able to have your parent, guardian, close adult person near your child when they're sick, I think makes all the difference in the world in their healing and can make it go a lot better, make them feel better. If parents are involved in their kiddo's care, they better understand what their kiddo needs. And if we can keep them close to help them do that, I'm all for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let me check the chat. No, just a bunch of clown gifts. Great.
We do love a good Ronald gif.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, I think I looked through the Ronald gifts when I was choosing you guys, and most of them are they're more on the creepy side. There's no happy Ronald anymore. But I guess that just plays to the people on Discord. Like they tend to want the more creepy Ronald when they use the reaction gifts.
Yeah,
But
we need the dark humor. I think that's what you
exactly.
guys are about.
That's crypto in a nutshell. But no, let's just see if anybody let's I guess we'll reset the room. But we have Chrissy here from the Ronald McDonald House Charity of Detroit, and she's talking with us about her organization, and just wanted to ask if anybody else has questions. And Specialist Jay, are you here?
I'm here. What's up?
Just curious, how long do we usually speak with our charities?
It's up to you. It's half an hour. It's really however much time you guys have to dedicate to it. So it's totally your call.
I mean, I think we're at the half hour point, and I do not see any other questions in the chat. So I guess just maybe Chrissy, you can tell us why. I don't want to pit you against other charities that are vying for this money, but I want to pit you against other charities that are vying for this money. Why should Space Poggers choose Ronald McDonald House of Detroit?
Great question. Let me just throw a pitch right at you guys. So what we are trying to do here in Detroit is we are trying very hard to bring what we call a CareMobile to the city. It's a mobile medical unit that will visit Detroit public schools and provide healthcare to kids who may not have a primary care doctor or don't have insurance or anything like that. We are working with the Children's Hospital of Michigan to bring that project to Detroit. And any funding donations provided from this amazing community would go to supporting that CareMobile. We want it here. We know that we can do a lot of good with it here. We know that this is a community that needs some special attention. Detroit has one of the highest rates of pediatric asthma cases, and those kids struggle without a primary care doctor to provide them with services, medications, even just checkups. So we want to bring that to Detroit, and we would really appreciate the support of this community to do that.
No, I think that's a great elevator pitch right there. That's the best that we could ask for. And I guess just a quick follow up. I'm just curious: is Flint within your vicinity?
We would start within Metro Detroit itself with Detroit Public Schools, but yeah, the eventual goal would be to expand, especially to the Flint area. I actually grew up in the Flint area, and
did you?
Know that they could use it as well.
Yeah, I'm curious. Like, do you guys? I know a couple years ago, you guys had Flint had that water crisis where there was
Mhm.
some kind of chemicals in, I guess, in the water. Um, is that something that you guys have offered support for? The organization has offered support for? Has there been any people from that have utilized uh, your rooms and staying and going to the
Yeah.
children's hospital?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, so they're in Flint. They have a children's hospital. It's Hurley Children's Hospital, and that was kind of the boots on the ground for the kids that were in Flint dealing with the lead in the water.
Yep.
Um, and so they were going to Hurley as their first stop, and then they were coming to the Children's Hospital of Michigan in Detroit as their second stop if they had emergent needs or needs that Hurley couldn't take care of there in Flint. So we did have, especially right when the crisis was happening and they were kind of doing a lot of lead testing and finding out that
Mhm.
that there was a lot going on there. We did have a lot of families that came and stayed with us from the Flint area, and we still do have a few that come down for longer term care, and they do like follow up visits and things like that. So we have seen, and there are other communities too throughout the state of Michigan. There are some over on the west side of the state that are also dealing with some different lead in the water issues, and so they've done a lot here in Detroit at the Children's Hospital to focus on the best ways to take care of those kiddos. So we do see kids from those areas come and stay with us.
Okay. No, that made national headlines, and it's great that you
Yeah.
guys are doing stuff to help those kids. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're
No.
pretty happy to say that, between all of the houses that are here in Michigan, Grand Rapids, Lansing, Ann Arbor, and here in Detroit, we do everything we can working together to make sure that anywhere a kiddo goes, any of these great children's hospitals that we have here in Michigan, that they have the support of a Ronald McDonald House. We're constantly talking to each other to make sure that if families are transferring between hospitals, that process goes as seamlessly as possible. We just want to make sure that all the families that are in Michigan, I mean, that's a really hard time in their life. If their kid needs to be hospitalized, they're going through it, and we want to try to relieve some of that stress as much as we can.
Yeah. No, definitely a good organization, a great organization with good ideals. And I thank you again, Chrissy, for taking the time to speak with us today. I know
Yeah,
it's
absolutely. It was my pleasure. I'll be in the chat for however long. And so please, if anybody has any questions, don't hesitate to continue asking.
alrighty. Well, thank you guys for spending your Fridays with us, and wherever you are in the world, good afternoon or good morning. And with that, I think we will close this out. And if Special J has anything to add,
Nope.
if not, all right. You guys have a good day. Thank you. Thanks again,
Thanks,
Chrissy.
everybody.
Take care.
All right. Bye, guys.